In Ultimate Spider-Man #1, Peter Parker starts his morning by preparing for work, greeting his children, Richard and May, and thanking Mary Jane for the coffee she made. MJ knows he had a restless night, and Peter admits he barely slept. She recognizes why today is a difficult day for him. While getting ready, Peter takes a silver orb from May, reminding her that it isn't a toy. Although he wants to discuss things with MJ, he has to head out early, promising they'll talk later. He makes his way to the Daily Bugle, where chaos is already unfolding. Jonah Jameson storms into the office, loudly demanding Peter's presence. Instead of stopping, Jonah barrels past him, heading straight for Ben Parker, the Bugle's managing editor. Jonah, always loud and impatient, insists that the higher-ups have called for an emergency management meeting later that day. Ben shrugs it off, seeing no reason to reschedule. Peter arrives to pick up Ben, only for Ben to joke that he's been ready for ages while Peter is the late one. Peter, never missing a beat, quips that he's arrived exactly when he intended. Jonah and Ben shake their heads at his sarcasm, remarking that while Peter is clever, it wouldn't hurt for him to be punctual. As they get ready to leave, Jonah notices Peter isn't wearing a tie. Peter shrugs, unsure if he even owns one. Without hesitation, Jonah hands him his own, making it clear that he needs to look the part. As Jonah fastens the tie for him, he reminisces about how he and Peter's uncle were always willing to share their emotions. Peter knows this already but asks how Jonah thinks Ben is really handling things. Jonah, despite his tough exterior, admits that Ben is one of the strongest people he's ever known, but even the strongest people have limits. He suggests that they both keep an eye on him. Out on the snowy streets, Peter and Ben walk through the bustling city. Peter, concerned, asks how Ben is holding up. Ben immediately sees through the question, recognizing that Peter is the one who's actually worried. He wishes his nephew would just say what he really means. Peter finally admits that he's concerned because Ben hasn't opened up about Aunt May's passing. Ben reflects on the time when Peter lost his parents at 15 and had to move in with him and May. That first year had been challenging for everyone, but they never tried to replace Peter's parents, because they couldn't. Ben then asks Peter if there has ever been a day he hasn't thought about them. Peter answers honestly, not a single day. Ben nods, telling him that's exactly how he feels about May. They soon meet up with MJ and the kids at a memorial for the victims of an attack believed to have been caused by Tony Stark. Father Matt Murdock delivers a powerful speech, saying that acts of terror are often beyond human understanding. He believes whatever ideology Tony Stark followed died with him, but the memories of those lost will endure. He urges those gathered to hold on to the stories of their loved ones. If they listen closely, they might even hear the voices of angels. Next, Harry Osborn steps forward, mourning his parents, Norman and Emily Osborn. He shares a childhood memory of playing catch with his father, even though neither of them liked baseball. He never understood why that moment stuck with him until now. In that brief time, their world was just the ball, just the two of them. Now, he'll never have another moment like that again. He acknowledges that everyone there has lost someone, but he isn't sure if they'll ever truly heal. Unlike Father Murdock, he doesn't hear angels singing. Instead, he hears the sound of a baseball hitting a glove, sirens wailing, and screams echoing. Their future was taken, leaving them with only memories, and to him, that doesn't seem like enough. After the ceremony, Peter and MJ watch as Ben speaks with Harry. MJ recalls meeting Harry years ago, remarking that he was a completely different person back then. Peter mentions that Ben had interviewed Norman a few times for the Bugle but never truly figured out what kind of man he was. MJ remarks that Norman was both a ruthless businessman and a loving father, proving that people are never as simple as they seem. Later, Peter and Ben return to the Bugle, only to walk into another dramatic scene. Jonah, furious over a meeting, storms out, loudly declaring his resignation. Ben sends Peter back to his desk while he steps inside to see what's going on. Robbie Robertson explains that the Bugle's advertisers are unhappy with its hard-hitting investigative work, particularly its deep dive into the Stark attack. As a result, the board wants major editorial changes. With Jonah gone, Wilson Fisk, now the Bugle's owner, offers Ben a promotion, but only if he agrees to play by their rules. Ben, refusing to compromise his integrity, silently leaves the office and joins Jonah in the elevator. Meanwhile, Fisk returns home, only for his car to explode, a clear warning from the Green Goblin. That evening, Jonah and Ben find themselves at a bar, discussing their next move. Ben suggests they start their own news network, but Jonah is skeptical, convinced that the cycle will just repeat itself. Ben insists that this time will be different. Jonah, ever the cynic, dismisses the idea of pure journalism. But Ben insists this time they will tell the truth. Jonah laughs at the thought but ultimately agrees. Instead of promising to tell the truth, he suggests something more realistic: at least they won't lie. They toast to that. Peter soon joins them, reporting that the Bugle is in chaos. Robbie Robertson has taken over, which means Peter's job is safe, but he's curious about Jonah and Ben's next steps. Ben offers him a job at their new venture, but Peter is skeptical. How will they fund it? Jonah shrugs, saying they'll figure that out later. As they talk, Peter questions how Ben could walk away from his career in a single afternoon. Ben, without hesitation, tells him that after losing May, staying in a world full of compromises wasn't an option. It was the easiest decision he ever made. Peter, struggling with his own emotions, confesses that something has felt off in his life for a long time. He isn't sure what to do about it. Ben advises him to stop waiting for change and go after it. If he's been sleepwalking through life, it's time to wake up. That night, Peter returns home to find Richard still awake, lost in a tale of two cities. Peter lets him read a little longer before heading to MJ. He tells her about Ben and Jonah's new plan and apologizes for being late. MJ understands. She knew he wouldn't have been able to sleep without checking on Ben first. She then encourages him to finish their conversation from that morning. Peter finally admits he needs a change. MJ assures him that she supports him completely, but he clarifies it isn't just about his circumstances, he needs to change. She's known for years that something was weighing on him. She asks if he knows what he has to do and whether it will affect their relationship. Peter assures her that nothing will ever change them. MJ kisses him and tells him to do what he must. Retrieving the silver orb May had played with earlier, Peter heads to the rooftop. He recalls the previous night, when a mysterious box materialized in his living room. Upon touching it, a hologram of Iron Lad appeared, revealing himself to be Tony Stark. Tony's message, sent from 6 months in the future, reveals that someone attempted to kill him and his companion. Inside the orb, Tony has provided Peter with a stealth suit and a bioorganic catalyst designed to trigger a post-human transformation. Tony then drops a bombshell. 20 years ago, Peter was meant to be bitten by a radioactive spider, gaining extraordinary powers and becoming a hero. But a great evil tampered with time, preventing him and others from fulfilling their destinies. Now, Tony is working to restore what was lost. In 6 months, he will emerge, and together, they will reclaim the world. Peter was meant to be Spider-Man. That future was stolen from him. Without hesitation, he activates the orb, releasing the spider. He watches as it crawls onto his arm, then lets it bite him. And with that, Earth 6160 Spider-Man is born.